Chapter 1. The Waif and the Warrior. The tent flap rustled, and Marcel stepped inside without knocking. "Good morning, Kaede," he said, brushing dust from his sleeve. "I wasn't sure your little guild would survive to see another fair." Kaede straightened from the small desk where he'd been arranging the day's ledger. He met Marcel's handshake stiffly. "We've done well enough." Marcel, "Yeah." He looked around. "You are barely hanging on here. Look around, Kaede. You'll break before they ever hire you." "We will find work," Kaede stated, jaw tight. Marcel stepped closer, voice dropping. "And you will march the children to their death. Give it up." Kaede's eyes burned as they flicked to the battered courtyard. "They've more grit than any pressed soldier. My son—" He stopped, chest tightening. Damn it, he'd said too much. Marcel smirked knowingly. Kaede straightened, his voice firm now. "We'll see who starves first. Get out." Marcel gave a low laugh, saying, "He's not your son, fool. He's a curse. Always has been," as he slipped out. The tent flap closed, leaving Kaede alone with the quiet flapping of canvas and the faint sounds of the courtyard beyond. Kaede reached for a tent pole and squeezed his rage into it. Joom pulled off his helmet and squinted at the setting sun. Still enough light to find food, and maybe an ale. The contest had lasted longer than he liked, but in the end he won. He usually did. At the yearly fair he had one goal: remind the Empire why they still feared his name. No man could match him face to face in heavy plate, duel or real fight. These opponents were lucky today was the friendly kind. Still, his body ached more than it had last year, and it soured his mood. The Empire didn't crave blood, just the illusion of it. Joom hated staged combat. He'd strangled men on real battlefields under a brutal sun, their lives decided over mills and land. But here, it was theatre, and theatre brought clients. Clients fed his guild, Syphis. Now all he wanted was ale, food, maybe a woman. He winced. His armor smelled like socks on a corpse. These public displays weren't real, but by the sacred whore, they were draining, and noisy with applause. Heya Wenan, second in command of the Syphis Guild, waited nearby, arms crossed, looking insufferably clean. And thin. Heya thought Joom's head had the shape and texture of a potato. To him, Joom was as unrefined as he was deadly. Every interaction felt like it could end with a blade. One misplaced word, and he'd be mulch. Luckily, Heya's mask was his strongest asset. "Good fight out there, Joom. By the gods, better than last year." Heya clapped him on the back. "I'm hungry," Joom growled, in no mood for pleasantries. "This way, my dirt-eating friend," Heya said, gesturing in his foppish way. The insult was calculated. Joom could smell fear. "The dirt-eating made this empire, sea rat," Joom growled. The slur cut deeper than it should. Shahob was the desert capital, home of the so-called dirt eaters. His people came from the sand and wind-swept vastness. Heya should have been groveling. Instead, he smirked. Yes. Heya dismissed the returned insult. "Clan Achawan has kebabs, potatoes, ale. They have dancing. We are invited. Leading with food and women, always a safe bet." "Clan Achawan are crafters," Joom spat. "They're rich. Their ale is good, their girls are pretty, and they're marrying into Kudald," Heya said, dropping the name like a prize. Joom arched an eyebrow. Kudald, a shipping guild that ran the trade routes from Shahab south to Zaran, the kingdom of Tavaxan's jewel on the sea, and they never let Durham forget it. They came upon a large crowd spilling from a small, ruddy-looking mercenary encampment. People cheered, blocking the path, stumbling. Cheap ale filled Joom's nostrils. "You know what this is," Joom gestured dismissively. "Tassos," Haya sighed, pointing to the guild banner. "They made up some test of strength game. Idiots have been wasting time at it all day. The register doesn't even recognize it. And some girl is champion." It took no more motivation. Joom Kirk pushed to the front of the crowd like a stampeding elephant. As he moved, he unfastened the heavy plates of his armor, not because he needed to. He didn't expect much of a fight, but because the sweat-soaked stink was unbearable. One buckle after another dropped to the ground with a clink, until he stood stripped to his undertunic and braces. Through the dust, Joom saw a willowy girl sparring a man he'd seen earlier. The man's nose gushed blood, and as the fighter regained his composure, she darted between his legs. The opponent let go of the staff to maintain his balance and to protect his jewels. The crowd cheered and booed. The match was lost.
"I'll challenge the champion!"
Joom called. One kick to the chest would end this nonsense. Another competition where someone with no business fighting was gaining momentum in the eyes of the right and rich. The girl spun on her heel and looked up at Joom. Her dark eyes sparkled with delight. Her hands and the staff went behind her back. There was no fear in this one, Joom noted. A year of true battle would change that. He had seen it before. "Kaede?" the girl asked, gesturing to a short, dark man with her chin.
"There is a price to fight, sir,"
Kaede said, stepping in. Joom rolled his eyes. "Of course there is," muttering. He didn't smell the scam until he stepped in it, like dog shit.
"Of course there is!"
Kaede, guildmaster and master of ceremonies, repeated, tossing his hands in the air. The crowd cheered as if trained. They had been through this before. "That's my beer money, Kaede, you thief!" a voice shouted, to general laughter, as the guildmaster made an elaborate bow. It seemed the Tassos Guild was selling beer and mead to accompany the entertainment. "How much?" Joom asked.
2 silver,
Kaede answered, enthusiastically gesturing with one hand held high. The crowd drunkenly cheered. Haya handed the coin over and clapped Joom on the shoulder. To back out now would be a bad mark. The crowd would note it. Rumors would spread.
"The rules!"
Kaede began, and staggered only a bit. Kaede was perhaps more than 3 dunks into his cups. Regardless, he stated the rules with the practiced ease of a man who'd been saying them all day, quickly and without repetition. "Both opponents start with both hands on the staff. Hand positions can be adjusted, but if a hand leaves the staff, it cannot be placed back on. The goal: remove both of your opponent's hands from the staff. Begin." Joom started the way most men did. He jerked the staff toward himself. The girl stumbled a bit, bouncing off the staff with a giggle. Pretty, Joom thought. He pushed her away, and she bounced backward, giggling again. He imagined her face smeared with blood, her jaw broken, her life extinguished. He kicked hard, but she was out of range. Her smile was enraging. It was innocent and cocky and foolish. She winked at him. Actually winked. Joom wanted to plant her face first into the dirt just to wipe it off. He twisted the staff and the girl twisted with it, ducking her head under her arm. At the end of his spin, while his arms were crossed, her arms were straight. Her back was to him. Infuriating. It was like punching water. Before he could untwist, she jumped, kicking both feet into his stomach. He bent forward from the blow. Joom hadn't been hit that hard in the stomach without armor in years. The girl spun about the pole without ever letting go, performing maneuvers that could dislocate a shoulder. She kicked him in the nose. It exploded into blood. While Joom's vision was still a bright white light, he felt her heel smash into his hand, then his wrist. He let go, rage taking over. He wanted to grab her by the throat and squeeze. When he let go, she dropped to the ground, ducking between his legs. Joom felt the blood rise to his cheeks. He had seen this part. He took an exaggerated step back, grabbed the bottom of the staff, and swung it in a high arc. The girl followed the staff into the air. Her grip failed. She was sent flying. She bounced twice, rolled, and her skirt slid up, revealing dirty legs up to her dust-covered small clothes. She rolled again, exposing a scratched and red bottom. Joom smiled, resting the staff on his shoulder. The crowd ooh-ahed. Some for the throw, some for the tumble, and more than one for the flash of legs and small clothes. Drei felt the cool night air on her thighs. Her blood roared, rage, embarrassment, panic.
"Get up, stupid! Your skirt's over your head!"
Somewhere a man whistled low and called, "Best move of the match, miss!" Then a drunk voice from the back chimed in, "Marry me!" With the burst of energy only a teenage girl with her underwear showing could summon, she sprang to her feet. One hand yanked her skirt down, the other stabbed the air toward Joom. He laughed.
"You cheated!"
The crowd roared. Some agreed, some disagreed, and many just laughed. Joom laughed too, but it was a dark sound. He turned to Kaede. "You'll lead her to her grave if this is all she's learning," he said, tossing the staff to Kaede before vanishing into the crowd. Swaggering sand-stained bastard. Drei cursed his disappearing back as Kaede set up another fight. She discovered part of her skirt was still a great deal higher than it should be. Drei rubbed her bruised bottom, pouting, until, of course, she saw Rohma bouncing up to her. It was a skip, but every part of her seemed to be in a sort of giddy, joyous motion. And as soon as Drei's eyes took her in, Rohma's embrace overtook her.
"That was amazing!"
Rohma shouted in Drei's ear.
"Hardly. I just showed everyone my small clothes."
Rohma released her and giggled. "Well, that wasn't my favorite part."
"Oh, you had a favorite part?"
Rohma bounced into a bow stance, 1 foot far in front of the other. She pointed at an invisible Joom, tossing her head back dramatically.
"You cheated!"
And everyone laughed.
Drei sighed, resting her head on Rohma's shoulder. "They were just glad you were okay," Rohma cooed, rubbing Drei's back and kissing the deep red crown of her filthy hair. "Let's have a drink." "It was good, Drei. You almost had him," Sen offered.
"You think so, Sen? My butt doesn't."
Drei laughed and mussed his blonde hair, then pulled him close to her.
"You want a drink?"
"Yes, but—" Sen pushed Drei away, looking at her seriously. "I have a tournament tomorrow." "You do? You will make the whole guild proud, riding and—" "What?" Rohma asked. "Single combat, double gauche." He lifted his chin proudly. "That's my style," Drei smiled. "Sinister hand," Rohma whispered ominously. "Deadliest of all hands, not to be confused with clumsy hand or sticky hand." Sen glared. "Shut up." Rohma stuck out her tongue, but Sen continued. "They're good, medium-sized daggers that let you get in close. Built to deflect anything. Speed and precision over brute strength. Double left, the sinister hand. It suits me." Sen sounded like he was quoting Kaede in a training session. Rohma grinned. Drei nodded. "You are going to get bigger, though. One day you will be a big squirrel. What is the name for that, Rohma?" Rohma shrugged and smiled. "I will," Sen nodded. "But I hope not. Fastest riders are light. They don't burden the horse." "True, but it doesn't matter how fast you are if when you get there you're too small to attack," Drei commented, patting Sen's head. Sen laughed. "Have you ever seen me ride, Drei? Besides, it's mostly archery." Kaede waved off the trio, confirming that she was done for the night. "So, where to? Rolling Thunder?" Rohma asked excitedly. The Rolling Thunder clan were musicians, dancers, and entertainers. Naturally, their encampment was straight debauchery at night, Rohma's favorite place because of the drums and dancing. The drums were the source of their name. "I have to make an appearance at Clan Akawan," Drei sighed unhappily, remembering. "For your mum?" Rohma asked, knowing the answer. By hill and stone, she's the worst, Rohma cursed. She is, Senjab agreed solemnly. Bet you wish you were an orphan like me and Rohma, free to do whatever we like. You mean whatever Kaede likes, Rohma corrected. Same thing, Sen jeered.
Come on though, Drei. Why are you even still a part of your clan? It's ridiculous,
Rohma said, pulling on Drei's arm as if trying to tug her away from it.
It's just not that simple when you have parents,
Drei laughed. Her mom was a handful, sure, but she loved her family.
Let me change, wash up. We all go for dinner at Clan Akawan. Then we put little Senjab to bed. She ruffled his hair and he pulled away angrily. Then we go dancing at Rolling Thunder.
The three ducked into the recruit tent, and the girls changed for dancing and dinner. Sen sat with his back to them, whittling a stick. The stick was already half destroyed, but judging by the scowl on his face, it deserved it.